Okay. So, hey everybody, my name is Kayla. Welcome to My Favorite Artist. Today we have our first inaugural guest, Will Horton. He is your favorite rapper's videographer, filmographer. He's known for the underground classic, I'm Bout It, Master P movie. He's known for a lot of music videos. He's worked with Mia X, Mystical, and the No Limit Heartthrob, Silk the Shocker. So, Mr. Horton, you can go on and introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. As you mentioned, I am Will Horton, filmmaker from New Orleans, international award-winning filmmaker. Let me clear up. I was not the creator of the I'm Bout It film. The I'm Bout It music video, which was Master P's first gold record. I was the director of that video, writer and director of that video. I'm here to promote my documentary, which is the New Orleans Hip Hop History, pretty much shedding light on the contributions that New Orleans hip hop artists have created and attributed to not only hip hop culture, but American music culture.
And that is definitely a significant contribution. It's funny that you say that because I was in the process of working with a few other people on one called Originators, and it was along the lines of what you were doing. So that's cool. What made you, especially since you already work in, entertainment, film, and television, what were you just tired of seeing, the lack of respect and accolades that people don't give New Orleans and their artists, or people that they take things that New Orleans and the artists have made and they try to reinvent it and make it like it belonged somewhere else? Was that something that, made you say, okay, we got to put a stamp on this?
That's part of it. Basically, having others tell our story was a concern of mine, and being from New Orleans as a fan and also someone who was a part of the culture, helping to shape the culture. I just thought it was important that we should tell our own stories, and the stories should come from those pioneers who were influential. Excuse me, influential in shaping hip hop for the South as well as the other coasts.
Yes, and that's very important that you say that. It's always, you don't want anybody else to tell your story. You want to be able to tell it because they're going to tell their version of it. And whether you did something real bad or something real great, they're going to leave it out. And then it's up to interpretation. Whereas if New Orleans tells its own story, this is how it happened, this is how it's continuing to happen, and this is how we foresee it happening, then nobody else can take that from us. I totally agree with that. And I'm really glad that you stepped up and said, hey, we're not going to allow this any longer. Because there's so many times you watch documentaries, especially about New Orleans and about the music, and then they just cover the basics. And really, and this is not a dig at Master P and them, but they're part of their basics is No Limit Records. We get a little bit on Cash Money, and we don't get anything on Big Boy. We don't get anything on Take 4. We don't get anything on all the other ones. And people don't realize the part they played for No Limit to be where it was. The part that Baby played for everybody else to get where they are today. So, yes, that is.
And that's why, yeah, and that you are exactly right. That's why I'm approaching this not just from a fan, but from a historian aspect, so that those voices that are unsung will finally get a chance to be heard. And no knock to No Limit or Cash Money. I've worked with both companies, but there were others as well who were integral parts of shaping this New Orleans hip hop culture. And I want to make sure that they're heard and their legacies, are explored and maintained. for posterity.
Yes, you're right. Because excuse me, they have a lot of different things to offer. They have like, I was watching the thing with Anthony Mackie when he was talking about how he was a part of Take Four. Nobody knew that. And so even like people, lifelong New Orleanians, they did not know. And I'm calling people, I'm like, hey, did you know that he was a part of Take Four? Did you know that he did? They're like, oh no, we didn't know that. And then some people was like, oh, you lying. I'm like, no, he said it out of his own mouth, So
Right.
you're right. It's a trip because you have like all of this musical greatness that has came out of New Orleans, and still they only choose to recognize selective parts. And then not only do they take the music, but they take the language. How do you feel about that?
Taking a language, I look at it as um, that being as the culture is spreading, is being recognized. Now, whether they double back and give the acknowledgement of the originators, and that's a totally different story. And I mean, it's gotten to the point where we can't rely on others to tell our story or to represent us. We would be doing a disservice to ourselves if we expect that. We need to take charge of pushing our own culture and recognizing ourselves. That's the only way that we'll get the respect across the board in the industry, especially with music being worldwide right now because of the internet. So it's really up to us, the New Orleans artists, to promote the New Orleans culture and just remind folks, because as much as it shouldn't be a division to me of regions in the sense of competing or having a snobbish attitude, such as, oh, okay, I'm from New York, that's the birth of hip hop, and New Orleans we'll allow you to join our party. To me, that's like, in a sense, even in light of DNA evidence, you're denying your grandfather. So when you think of the history, of American music, what would hip hop be without jazz music? And we all know what jazz originated.
Right.
From jazz, we got R&B, and we got James Brown. And so the role that James Brown played in hip hop. So like I said, it's like buying your grandfather, still sticking your chest out. So it's, how do we break that cultural divide, or that geographical divide,
Mhm.
and understand that hip hop is Black music, no matter what part of the country you're in. We all contributed to it. Each of the regions have contributed to make hip hop what it is. And I
Yes.
want to I want to speak on the Anthony Mackie
Mhm.
thing. I thought that was a great a piece. Um, Definitely, to me, that moment was a great ambassadorship for hip hop in New Orleans. What he's saying is true. Take Four Records is an integral report of the fabric of New Orleans hip hop in America. As you can see, the bounce music, they were at the forefront of the bounce era. And we can see iterations of bounce in most of pop music today. Uh, I was actually there in the beginning of Take Four Records. Matter of fact, Take Four, I'm one of the four founding members of Take Four Records.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, I remember Anthony Mackie as a little kid hanging around. So yeah, what he's saying is true. Take Four don't normally get the credit, but you'll hear DJ Jubilee and Beyonce songs. You'll hear the bounce music or see the dances all across the country.
Yes, it's so funny that you mentioned Beyonce because the late great Josephine Johnny. You know, how many times did people take the Josephine Johnny, the Lord Hammer? I mean, the whole thing, and then just act like we made that up ourselves, or oh no, or when they did give him a shout out, it was kind of like a backhanded one, And so when I talk to a lot of other artists, especially like artists that are established in New Orleans hip hop, they tell you the backhanded comments is one of the things that really, hurt the most, or the backhanded thanks and all of that. And I agree with you. With jazz originating in New Orleans, we know that for sure. And it's like a progression. We decided, okay, we're gonna give y'all this, and y'all got it. Now we're gonna give you something else. We're gonna give you something else. But when it came to hip hop, everybody, oh no, we're gonna take that one from you. We can handle it from here.
Right, as though hip hop was created out of a vacuum. Right. Yeah, that part I don't get. So, but hopefully we will make some more inroads with, with our northern East Coast counterparts, and hopefully have some collaborations that really can solidify, and bridge the gap and those connections between the regions.
So now let me ask you, you have another documentary. Has it came out, the NOLA Slang one?
Oh, actually, I just left set from
Okay.
shoot that. Yeah, yeah, kind of busy these days. I have two
Yeah.
projects going on at the same time. The NOLA Slang, yeah, series that I'm doing. We're on part 4 right now,
Okay.
and reason by popular and it was supposed to be a part series, but by popular demand, I may do a part 5. So
Yes.
I'm really strongly considering a part 5.
Okay.
This
Okay.
one has been well received.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, as it started out as I was trying to create something on the internet that would show an appreciation for New Orleans. And I called it the Welcome to New Orleans series, which would include music, arts, a culture. And the first leg, um, language and how we speak. And I was, saying that no matter where you go in the world, you can easily recognize a New Orleans person, and as soon as they open their mouth, by the language, by the colloquialisms that they use. For example, Anthony Mackie, when he was, if you listen to him, I mean, that was New Orleans to the bone. Now speaking, baby, he wasn't afraid to be himself, and we love to see those identifiers that connect New Orleanians to their roots, which brings them home. This makes us feel proud.
It's like a sense of comfort when you're in a totally different place. Like you could be in like Portland, Oregon, and you walk up to somebody, you're like, hey, you know what time it is? And then they just start telling you, and then they might slip something in there like, you know, oh yeah, and you listen, you like, hold on, wait, that didn't sound like a regular oh yeah. So then your
Um,
ears tuned in. And you like, okay, let me listen for the rest. And then they follow it up with a you dig or something. You like, hold on. This am I hearing what I think I'm hearing? So yes, I understand. I understand you there. That is definitely it's like if I don't know, it's like a warm blanket or something when you're in a cold city, you know.
Definitely. Most definitely a comforting feeling. Many times I've traveled and I've run into friends out of town, and we'll be in the airport or at a restaurant or something. I hear wow, and immediately know, okay, New Orleans is in the house.
Yes, that is my favorite. And was that? I love it because I'm so because it's a certain pitch and it's
Right.
a certain way. It's you counting the A's. You like no, that's too short A's. That's not they not they might be Baton Rouge or something. When you got that long list, you like yeah, that's it.
And there are different tweaks to it depending on the neighborhood you grew up in.
Yes, yes. Does your NOLA Slang documentary cover, the different neighborhoods and their different, vernacular? Because that is so true.
Actually, it does. I have one segment, part 3,
Hmm.
is strictly the ladies, and
Okay.
each of them are from different parts of New Orleans, and the way they speak and introduce themselves. In our list, they tell where they're from. Automatically, those identifiers are there, so
Yes.
you get a sense of okay, folks speak in this part of the city.
Cool. And even especially like with women, we either have heavy voice or the high pitched voice. And then like the older generation, like your mama, your mama, and all of them, they might have the in between heavy, high pitch, and then either high pitch. Have you ever noticed that? And you like, wait a minute. So she must be from this part of the city, or like my son, his grandmother is from the Seventh Ward, but they live in Lacombe, so she doesn't sound the same.
Mm-hmm.
She's picked up, their the way the pitching and all of that, and you're like, yeah, it's still there, but it's really really Lacomish. I don't know how to say it. It's not bad, it's just you can definitely tell the difference.
Right. Uh, Southern Ward, it's their vernacular is almost totally different the way they pronounce words. It has a strong French influence to it, and sometimes they'll replace English words with French words without even knowing it. So it sounds similar to Cajuns, but it definitely has a strong French influence.
And they
Like my
use
Southern Ward friends, they don't say "got," they'll say "got."
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, you're so right. You're right. Yes. And like if you uptown and somebody might say, oh, her name is Marie, but in the same way, Marie, you like, wait a minute, why is it so high?
It has that extra French twist to
Yeah,
it.
yeah. And a lot of people will say, like, I have one of my friends, he's married to a lady from the Seventh Ward. He said, I used to be like, all y'all do is show off when you talk. Cause that's not how you say this, and that's not how you say that. He said, but then he said, as I started, going around, and he said, that's really how they talk. I said, yeah, it is.
With certain parts of the city, I mean, well, of course, New Orleans and Louisiana was pretty much owned by the French and the Spanish before the Americans took over. So a lot of those French and Spanish traditions and cultures remained in the city even long after the Louisiana Purchase. So you'll get pockets of the city where they would maintain speaking part French, part English.
Yes, yes, indeed. So let me ask you this: with the NOLA Hip Hop History documentary, what what is the end goal that you hope to accomplish? As far as like, do you think the documentary is going to help, like you said, our friends in the northeastern part of the country? Is it going to open their eyes more to the contributions that New Orleans has made, or do you think it's going to further the debate?
Um, if it furthers the debate, I'll accept that. If it bridges the gap between the East Coast and the South, I'll take that as well as ancillary benefits. But my primary goal for this, once again, is to give voices to the voiceless, to have those who made major contributions, who were there for significant moments that advanced the culture, to finally be heard. And on the other hand, this is an educational piece. So this is a documentary that I'm hoping that will outlive me, so that students of music can watch it and study. Excuse me. And that's the approach that I'm taking with this. It's not about the drama or anything like that. I have no ill feelings toward New York. How they feel about the South is and how they express how they feel about the South is they have every right to. But this is more focusing on the artistry of the artists and those who um, gave major contributions to the art.
So now, are you who do you listen to as far as the New Orleans rappers like today? Are you a Rob 49 fan? Who do you listen to?
I do listen to Rob 49.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see who else new I listen to. J. Arson.
Hmm.
got a
Hmm.
chance. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's he's different. He's
Yeah.
very good. We talk all the time through chat. He's always bigging me up, saying, I appreciate what you've done, OG. Actually, he recreated one of my videos.
Okay.
He recreated the Ice Cream Man video.
Yes, he did. I haven't watched it yet, but yes, he did. Hmm.
So that was a great nod from him.
Okay.
I love his work, and guys like that who are really committed to their craft. I don't get into the debate on how they should approach their art. That's
Right.
their new voices. I just welcome, I welcome the new voices. I listen to the music and take from it what I can, and
Right.
try to build relationships with them.
So do you, let's see. There was a period, and even now, when everybody was talking about, well, the new artists out the city, they trying to sound like they're from New York. They're trying to sound like they're from California. And people were saying how they weren't sounding like New Orleans. What is your take on that?
Um, I think every artist, when they're starting out, in a sense, mimic somebody,
Mm-hmm.
and it depends on what's the popular wave. For example, the Atlanta trap scene was popular a few years ago, so a lot of New Orleans artists, I noticed, they kind of had a trap influential sound, a
Mm-hmm.
trap influence sound, shall I say?
Right.
And that's something that I expect. And what happens over the long term is more important. Do you stay within that realm of copying,
Mm-hmm.
or do you finally come into your own? And that's more important to me.
Yeah.
At what point does it become your voice and
Mm-hmm.
not T.I.'s or the Migos?
Right, right. Yeah, definitely. Okay. Well, I have really enjoyed this with you, and I'm looking forward to watching the NOLA Hip Hop History documentary. Are there going to be any private screenings, or how can we watch this?
I definitely will be private screenings. Once again, I told you this is will be an educational piece.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping to screen at universities, have music programs.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Um, I'll be eventually. I love for this to be screened in theaters, but
yeah.
definitely be coming to film festival with you.
Okay. Cool. I can't wait to see it. Um, we definitely will have to do a part two because you're very interesting and you have a lot of insight to offer, musically for people making music, but filmmakers as well, people that want to get into creating music videos because that's a lost art. And so I know that you can probably be a part of, one of the people that can help bring that craft back because that's definitely important in promoting music. So yes, we definitely want to link up for a part two.
It has been a great pleasure. Didn't know I was your inaugural guest, so that makes me unique in a
Yes,
sense.
yes. Hmm.
I, I really have enjoyed this, and